hit record. Ooh, that's left. All yours, Sarah.
Hello, happy Wednesday, friends. Who's excited for market stats? Guys, hands. Woo, good job. All right, let's start off by welcoming this week. Catherine Griffin has joined us. I don't know if you're there, Catherine, but if you are, we're happy to have you. If you see Catherine around, say hello, make her feel welcome, give her that metro culture and joy that we love to share with each other. And welcome to the family, my dear. Who has a bucket to fill? Stop all talking at once. I can't hear. It gets like all confusing when you're all talking at the same time. If you could go in at a time, that'd be really awesome.
I'll go ahead and go. Let's
wow.
do it.
Thanks, Mike.
Let's do it.
That was really getting hard.
It's kind of the obvious one. I'm going to give a bucket filled to our amazing Nancy Perez, of course, right? I mean, this is her exiting from us, and I'm just so sad, but happy.
Okay, time out. Nancy's not exiting anywhere. Well, she will physically be located in another place.
Yeah.
She is very much staying with Metro for anyone who mishears that. And now you may please carry on.
Don't fight for my love. Don't fight for me. Don't fight for me. You don't have to fight for me.
Well, we love you. That's the whole point is I'm filling your bucket with love. Okay, that's what I want to do. I love you, Nancy. You're the best. Much love.
Thank you, Mike.
Gordon, nice work. On the bucket of love conversation, I would like to remind everyone to please RSVP today if you are planning on attending the send-off gala tomorrow evening. If you haven't gotten your invitation by Evite, email, Facebook notification, I think some carrier pigeons went out. If you're still not sure, please comment in the chat. We'll make sure you get invited. We are all invited. We are all coming together to group hug while social distanced and elbow bump and, whatever else goes on. It will be outside. We will be safely outdoors on a lovely patio at Puesto, the headquarters on Harbor. I looked at pictures and I'm super stoked to go hang out on the water with you guys. Looks lovely. Well done, Evie Jack. Once again, Miss Evie Jack brings us together, pulls it out of her hat with 7 minutes to put it together. We have an outdoor venue for a lovely send-off, deserving of our Queen Nancy. To be clear again, Nancy is not leaving us. She is very much staying with us. She's not going anywhere, but she will be located only in a Zoom box, not in that office, for a period of time while she supports her family while traveling for the military. Thank you very much. And I would like to bucket fill Ryan Gillifan on that note, because Stephen just shared that Ryan got a Purple Heart for his service today. I don't know if he got it today, but we found out today. So Ryan, I don't know that you're on here, but we're all giving a Purple Heart to you for that gorgeous duty you serve to our country. We are thankful for you and all that you do. Does anyone else have any buckets? Oh, I see chat. I'm not paying attention. So you got to shout out if there's chats to bring my attention to. If there's any more buckets to fill, raise your hand or shout out and I will get to you. Otherwise, when it's market stats, I'm just going to kick it into high gear and keep going. So after the meeting today, we have Mike Delgado with his rapport building workshop. Mike, you want to say anything about it real quick?
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so 4-week rapport building workshop, guys. It's going to be scheduled after the office meeting or team meeting every week consecutively. So I'm super, super stoked to just dive deep into this to help you just foster deeper relationships, not only business, but for professional as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. Stay tuned after today's meeting. Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome. Thank you. And one more thing we have starting that time that we thought would never quite get here, where the fantastic new RPA gets rolled out and we have to begin contract training, is here. It is here. Welcome to the future. So that will be Thursdays at 1:00 starting this week, meaning tomorrow. We will start that training. Broker Bob, would you like to say anything about that as you segue into coaching spotlights?
other than I apologize in advance that I've moved the class times. On Friday, on Thursday, it is 1 to 2:30, and Friday it's 10:30 to noon. And then the RPA training, which will actually take effect next week, the class runs 10:30 to noon on Thursday, and then 1 to 2:30 on Friday. I had to maneuver my schedule because I have some stuff I have to attend to and take care of. Let's do some shout out though for the coaching spotlight this week. Got it. Well, of course, this kid's on here all the time.
Who's
And
that?
actually,
Who's that guy?
yeah, I think his name's Paulina. I'm taking Paulina to scream like a little girl this Friday at Magic Mountain. So we're going to see what he's like when I put him on the ride. Hopefully I won't lose him at the park. But congratulations to Paul. Got 2 BRE signed, closed on his own listing, and took another listing and coming soon. Great job, Paul.
I got an extra air tag for you, Bob, if you need it, and you can just put it on his backpack, and you can't lose him that way.
Oh, let me borrow that. We bring it to the office before we're leaving Friday at noon or 2 or something like that. So
I'll be there.
I have a little kitty leash that someone loaned me, but I have to find it. And then congratulations to Raquel, who opened an escrow on her own listing. Great job, Raquel. Congratulations. That is all in Alicia's coaching group, by the way. And Coach Corinne closed an escrow, opened another escrow, and signed a VRE all in the same day. Wow, do it all in one day, Corinne. Great job. And then Matt closed an escrow on his listing. Great job, Matt. And then that is it for the coaching spotlight. What I do want to talk about though right now is Mark thinks this will be a good thing to mention. So if you're taking a listing, there is, listen up on this because this is really important. We talk about it every week on this CAR statewide call, and we talk about it every month on the local broker call in San Diego. But it's one of the new dirty fives. The new dirty fives. What is the dirty fives, you ask me? If you have a listing, the seller is responsible for delivering 5 disclosures. Write these down because it's important you know each one of these if they're not delivered and why they're not, if they're not delivered, what could happen. The first one is, the first 4 are older ones. It's the natural hazard, the transfer disclosure statement, that the seller property questionnaire, and the lead-based paint. July 1st of this year, a new form came into place, and that's the Fire Hardening and Defensible Space Addendum. Basically, because of climate modifications that are going on, the whole California is on fire. And if you have a listing that's in what's considered a fire zone, so here's what it is. If it's residential property, 1 to 4 units, including condos or other common interest developments, or even manufactured homes, and they're located in a high or very high fire hazard severity zone where a TDS is required, and TDS would not be required if it was exempt or it was a foreclosure, etc. There's 4 ways to comply with the law. And you need to learn the ways, and I'm going to drop the Q&A in the chat box, but you need to read the 4 ways because you need to guide the seller as to how they need to fill out this form, because they're going to look to you to make sure you help them fill out the form. And if you don't have any idea what the F to do, then don't think you're going to come to the TC and say, can you help them with that? Because it's not the TC's responsibility, it's your responsibility to make sure. But basically, the new form helps sellers and agents in complying with the new legal obligation that the homeowner that's in that high fire hazard severity zone has what's called 100 feet of defensible space around their home. So in case there's ever a fire, the home could sort of be protected, depends, but it's 100 feet. And they also need to contact the state, the fire department, the Cal Fire Department, to have an inspection done on that property. But guess what? There's a 3-week wait list to get those inspections done. So really what this form does, it transfers the responsibility for the buyer to take care of it within a year, but the homeowner has to know how to fill out the form if they're in that high fire zone. And you find that out on the NHD, the natural hazard disclosure. But what we're finding is most NHD companies have conflicting information. So you need to make sure you understand how to find that proper information to help your seller. And it's causing a lot of havoc for people that are taking these listings that are in, I don't know, Humboldt or East County, because they're in those high fire zones. We'll probably do a quick Facebook Live, Mark and I, to go over this in the next few weeks, because it's something you all need to be made aware of. That is it. I'll drop it in the Q&A in the chat box, and everybody have a great day.
Thanks for that great info. We happen to have one of our SMP partners here today, Liz and Laura from my NHG. Liz and Laura, would you like to take your time?
It's almost as if I could have paid Bob for that intro. I mean, wow,
I know.
that was awesome. Hi, everybody. Liz, my partner here down in San Diego, she had a medical emergency with her mom. So you're just getting me today, but if you see one of us in the office, say hi. We work for my NHD. We've been doing this for about 25 years. We started doing NHDs before they were even required by the state. So to Bob's point, I strongly encourage you to review whichever company you're using, review their fire zones, whether they're, there's two parts to this. So you need to make sure you're getting your state maps, which is your CAL FIRE maps. But more importantly, this is the part that's kind of screwing everybody up. This law pertains to the local and city ordinances as well. So you could be out of a high fire or very high fire zone on a state level, but you could be in at a city or local level. So that would apply to that home. So it's super important. Something that we did at my NHD to take out any confusion. Page 2 of our report now has a very large, very in your face picture that says AB 38, this is in a very high fire zone, so that it doesn't get missed. There's no questions whether you're in or out. So we tried to make it really easy for the agents, because I know the last thing you want to do is flip through that 30 or so page document, which is the NHD. So that is the update as far as AB 38 goes. I would love to come in and teach a class. We've got anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour or even longer. If that's ever something that this office is interested in, I would love to do that for you guys. One quick other thing I wanted to mention, our report is $74.95 for a residential report and $94.95 for our environmental. That's going to include all those man-made hazards. So we've got a great price, we've got a great product. Even more important, you get customer service. That's myself and Liz, and we'll be in the office frequently. We're available on all the platforms in every single way you can possibly imagine. But the really cool thing that I want to tell you guys is going to help you guys. If you're out with a buyer, the buyer's questioning whether the home is in a flood or a fire zone, I'm going to drop my information in the chat box, but you can literally text, call, or email me that address, and I can get you that information in seconds. So if you're with a buyer, or even, maybe your seller is wondering, I've got flood and fire at my fingertips. Everything else that comes in the NHD, you will have to order the report. However, as you probably know, if you don't close, you don't pay. So getting the report is a no-brainer. And then the other thing is, I also recommend you get this report at listing. I think Bob mentioned it. The sooner the better. Why not just give yourself that information way in advance? And you know what, even before listing, like I said, you don't close, you don't pay. So it's really no harm, no foul. So I am your NHD rep now, and we are so excited to be in this office and can't wait to actually meet you guys in person.
Thank you so much, Laura. That's awesome info. And yes, we'll definitely take advantage of getting you on the calendar and getting more education out to our people so they understand how very simple you make it to work with you guys and the value the clients get for doing it ahead. So thank you for that. And we hope everything's okay with Liz's family.
Yeah, me too.
Rita from Blissful Seeds.
Hi everyone, how are you?
Hi, there you are. Let's hear from you, my dear.
Yeah, I'm actually, not a real estate agent, although we've moved probably 5 or 6 times so far. So I'm very familiar with the, selling and the buying of homes, and you are all doing a great job because having a good agent is always very appreciated. I come at the end of the purchase or sale process. I want to tell you really quickly about my nonprofit. I started a nonprofit in 2020. The mission is to empower young autistic adults through employment. And I met the beautiful Bridget Potterton online on one of the groups, and she brought me to your group as well. She has been buying a lot of products from us. I just wanted to say that when we started only with making soaps, bath bombs, and other bath accessories, but the more time passes, we are all learning and we are all improving. And I think that we are now capable of presenting more beautiful closing gifts for your clients. I have 2 I don't know if you can see them, but this is a cheese board with beautiful posters with it, and it's all made by young autistic adults. So the gift will come with a note explaining about the mission of the nonprofit, and I think it gives it way more meaning for your clients. This is another tray, also with they're all made by autistic adults, you guys. I think that we need to encourage them. We need to prove to them that they are doing a good job. And I hope that you would consider our nonprofit if you're looking for any closing gifts for your clients. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, Rita. I know Bridget has raved over and over again about the beautiful soaps and the gifts that she's gotten for clients through you. And as one of our strategic partners, I know a lot of our agents have started using you. So thank you for showing up and sharing a little more about what you guys are offering today. We're excited to keep working together, and that beautiful work you do to help everyone have employment is really great. So thank you for all you do.
Thanks.
Awesome. Anthony from Movement, are you ready to talk about Mortgage 101?
I am ready. So we have our next monthly Mortgage 101 training taking place on September the 23rd. We'll host it at 9:30 in the morning, and I have been posting the Zoom link on the Facebook page. I will also put it in the chat box today. But as mentioned, this is just a great introduction for those of you that are new, kind of an introduction to the lending process, or if anybody wants just kind of a refresher, this is something that'll be a lot of fun, and we definitely look forward to hosting all of you guys on it.
Awesome. Short and sweet. There it is. There's the link. There's the link. Get to it. Get registered. You're not learning about mortgages so that you can be the lender for your clients. You're learning about mortgages so you can speak intelligently to your clients about the process and understand for yourself as you go through the process what happens, and refer them to good people. So thank you for that, Anthony.
Anytime.
Justin is not with us today. I will say A+ Escrow is amazing. Justin is amazing. Our commercial sponsor says, shout out to Justin and A+ Escrow. Please use them because they're amazing. Not because I say so, but because all the agents who use them get awesome service. So on Justin's behalf, there's our announcement for A+ and all they do. Does anyone have a property to pitch? Going once.
I have a property to pitch.
Go, Eric.
5263 Streamview Drive in Choyas Creek. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1498 square feet. It has fruit trees in the back, including avocados, and a nice big workshop. And it is going live on Monday.
Awesome. I want an avocado tray. Anybody make a match with their buyer? Get to it. Any other properties to bring to the table? Congrats on your listing, Eric.
Oh, it's being offered for $575.
Oh, who needs a price? Pish
Yeah.
posh. Whatever the buyer says is what it is. Anyone else? Going twice? Properties coming to market? Pitching? Okay. Your loss is my gain. Ashley Lunn, let's get to it, my dear. Market
Okie
stats.
dokie. So interesting this week. For those of you who are relatively new to KW, I just want to give you a little history lesson. I actually was exploring, I have an external hard drive of every computer that I've had since 1999. And I don't delete anything. Poor Evie knows that. So yesterday I was literally scrolling through files and files and files, thousands of files. And I pulled one I'm going to show today, just in comparison. It's actually not that old, but I brought up my statistical report from February 2014. So towards the end, I'm going to show you that because I just sat here and laughed yesterday. And the other part of our history, many of you who have been with Keller Williams a while know the name Dave Jenks. And he somewhat unexpectedly passed away last night. And just, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge him because he's a large part of how we've developed as an education and training company. He was the first dean of Keller Williams University. He wrote all of our first courses. He was the guy who did the majority of our training from like 1996 to 2006. And he got COVID. And had some pre-existing medical conditions. He survived stage 4 melanoma several years ago. And that combined with this, he just couldn't get through. So love and light out to his wife, Gina. And if you're on Facebook, you'll see a lot of that. So I just wanted to give some context. There's lots of us here who've been in a room with him, and that was a blessing. He gave a lot to a lot of people. Okie dokie. So we're going to start with our current market slides, and then I'll pull up the 2014 ones and we can have a little laugh. Let me minimize this. And as I'm pulling this up, somebody who's more seasoned to this meeting, explain why I put this slide or a similar slide at the beginning of every one of these presentations. After I had to catch my breath yesterday and went, oh crap, Christmas is that close. Yeah, Sarah. Uh-huh.
What we do now is gonna be our income 10 days before Christmas.
And literally, we live in a 90-day world in real estate. So the activities that you're doing right now are going to result in appointments and contracts that you'll get paid for, thank God, just before Christmas. So if you want a good Christmas, or Hanukkah for that matter, you'll be halfway through Hanukkah at that point, got to get into the activities now because your income is being determined right now in that time frame. Okay, so now let's go back and look at what happened in the month of August. I'm going to pause this here for a minute, and I just I got a call today actually from one of our agents, and I was in a meeting. I couldn't take it, but she said, I'm going on a listing appointment and I heard that the market has softened. Can I get your stats? And so I sent it to her and she goes, so it hasn't softened, it hasn't slowed. And I said, nope, it really hasn't. I mean, slight. And we'll discuss that a little bit. But year to date through the end of August, we've taken 29,639 listings. Okay, and that's about 1,000 more than last year. We've sold 24,393, which is significantly more than last year at 4,800 more than last year, or almost 25%. So we've taken a few more listings and sold a hell of a lot more property than we did in 2020. Okay? So that's the first pass. Next, as of this morning, we had under $1 million, 1,026 houses available. That's fewer than we had the previous month, same time. Okay. We had 1,806 under $1 million in escrow. That's more than last month. And 1,304 closed in the last 30 days. It's a few less than last month. Over $1 million, 841 are available and 840 are in escrow. So we have exactly 1 month of inventory for anything over $1 million, which is just crazy. And 698 sold in the last 30 days. That's a little bit of a slowdown, but it could also just indicate that closing dates, we're right midway in the month. So every other number is pretty much right on. So the fact that we've lost 170 over $1 million houses in the last month doesn't quite make sense. Then on condos, this scared me a little bit because look how many fewer we have under $500,000 than we did last month. That's actually significant. That's a significant percentage available. So more compacting in the available inventory, especially in the affordable price points.
Ashley, is that last month or from July?
Where it says as of 6 a.m. today, September 15th, that's this time. And I'm sorry, you're right. So it is July. It wasn't August.
Okay.
We skipped
Right.
August for stats. So I have a hole in my stats. And
Just wondering.
yeah, thank you for clarifying. The hole in the stats occurs for anything that's active because I can't go back in time and see what was active in August. Everything else I've collated, but that I just miss out on. Okay, so the 3-year span, 2019, 2020, 2021, for new listings that have come to market. And if you kind of stared at this, do you remember those, they were popular probably in the 90s, those posters you could stare at and relax your eyes and you'd then see the form? That kind of feels like this to me. You can see the trend if you relax your eyes a little bit. And we're substituting blue bar, lower price points, for yellow bar, higher price points. That just says from 2019 to 2021, all those properties that were under $500,000 are getting close to $1 million. And it's just going up and up and up. In this corner, I have the absorption rates, and still pretty incredible to have over an 80% across the board absorption rate is breathtaking. You can see in the previous 3 years, we haven't gotten close to 80%. And now here we are, and that continues to climb a little. Okay. Listed just in the last 2 years. So 2020 was an obscure year, weird, and yet we still ended up doing phenomenally in real estate. Of course, all of us that were in the business knew that. But look at how much the pricing shifted. Let me ask a live question. So come off mute, anybody. Let's take the $400,000 to $500,000 price point. So the blue bar is 2020 and the yellow bar is 2021. Why do you think we've sold so many fewer houses, properties? This is houses and condos, between $400,000 and $500,000.
Because there are not very many of them left.
Prices went up. That both of those are correct. So we have not had the available inventory in that price point because it doesn't exist and likely never will again. And I want you to remember that. So when I bring up the 2014 slide, it's going to be pertinent. That was why I sat here laughing and in a little bit of shock yesterday. So 1,014 more listings through the end of August, 3.5% more. And then there's how the solds break down. Look at that visual differential. Thank God that the industry is still selling those properties that are now 600, 700, 8,000. Yeah, Nikki, it is wild. Wild. 1 year and look at the 1.5 million properties. How many fewer? 854 year to date in 2020, and we're at 3,000. And again, almost 25% more properties sold. So this is as of today. I was asked months ago to add these in. Thank you, Ed. As of today, these are the available houses in Sandacor in each price point. So if you have a buyer looking up to 400,000 for houses, you've got exactly 25 properties to show them. Total. Yeah, Terry, I see you shaking your head. Me too. Yep. Now we'll go to condos. Little more selection, but look, I mean, overall, the condo levels are actually more compacted. We have less inventory in comparison to last year in the condo market than we do in the housing market right now. Okay, so now here's your absorption rates by each major price point. Again, this is both condos and houses combined. I don't separate that for these slides. And 2021 is in yellow. 2020 is in yellow. I've got to correct that. And no, I'm telling you wrong. Telling you wrong. I need to breathe. So these are both 2021. The yellow is sold and the blue is listed. And again, on average, we're at 81% absorption rate across all price points, but look how high it gets under 400,000. 85, 85, 87, and 96% absorption. What that means is for every 10 properties brought to the market in a month, we're selling 9.6 of them in the under $200,000 price point. Or for every 100 properties brought, 96 of them are flying off the shelves within a month. Okay. It is aggressive. That's an aggressive absorption rate. In fact, it's twice as aggressive as last year, and we thought last year was aggressive, and it's 3 times as aggressive as 2019. Okay.
Actually,
yes.
Is absorption rate always measured over 30 days?
No, you could do it over a year. But I like to see how it moves because it does, this helps me track seasonality because absorption rate is always more aggressive in the summer months. And then it almost always in the third and fourth quarter gets looser. That's not happening right now. So I can project that our third and based on this late summer info, that the third and fourth quarter are going to have even crazier absorption rates.
So with that being said, and referencing the seasonality in quarter, do you do quarterly reviews to just kind of like put like a cumulative review of the market over three months at a time?
I did for a long time. I haven't in a long time because the trends still show up monthly and I was just duplicating work. I could, if anybody would want that, I have the data. So all I have to do is make a different chart, but it just shows you the same thing. And what's happened in it's a good question, Carl. What's happened in San Diego is our seasonality roller coaster, which used to, I mean, it really was, I don't know why other than holidays, but we followed the same pattern every other market, even with snow had. That's flattened out. Our roller coaster of that has really flattened and we've remained much more consistent month over month throughout the year in terms of sales activity, which is good for us, right? Who depend on our incomes on this. We don't have to worry about that big roller coaster.
Yeah, I was thinking if you did like something quarterly, it would probably disrupt this idea of, oh, the market's softening because it'd be easier to look at 3 quarters at a time versus, or a quarter to a quarter, which would be 6 month span versus 6 months, month individually. It was more of a curiosity thing.
Yeah, I could totally put that together and you would just see a trend line that was an eased up trend line on every stat that I actually follow. All right, good question. So for everybody who wonders what the absorption rate is, how we factor it, what it means, I have decided to leave this slide in here. And it's a good reminder to me that we are in insane times. There's no real term for it because a seller's market is defined, and this tells you, with an above 20% absorption rate. And we had upwards of 80% as our standard right now. So that's not a seller's market. That is some other term we yet need to come up with. Crazy. All right, here's new listings. And so what I always am curious about are how are we measuring the previous years for new listings that were brought in August? And fairly consistent. There's nothing that's overall shocking with these numbers. What I'm going to be interested to see is we see that from last month, let's call it July to August, we lost a lot. That's kind of typical because people slow down in the summer. What I'm curious to see is, will we see a rebound of that in September? And it's a lagging measure that I track here, so I can't tell. I have a sense based on our productivity in our office, it's going to be a really good September for new listings, but we'll see. You can see here, the rest of the year tends to just slide down from August. My intuition tells me we're not going to see that. We're going to see a little bit of a lift in the third and fourth quarter for new listings. Active listings down compared to July because we didn't have enough new ones come on to replace the supply that went off the market. So that dipping in new listings coming to market is what has impacted our available inventory, and this time compacted it. And we're seeing it in both the condo and housing market. And the pendings have ticked up. That's why I think we're going to see a good third and fourth quarter from the pending numbers. The activity is still there. The demand is still there. It's the sellers who took a little breather during the summer, the late summer. So if they took a little breather, they didn't disappear. They're just likely going to come on September, October. Okay. Solds came down for single family houses pretty dramatically. What this tells me though is we really had a good second quarter in terms of solds. So I would suspect that line won't continue to go down like it typically would in a normal historical year. I think that's going to again kind of ease off, and we'll have a higher than normal October, November, December. Median sales price ticked down from last month, but it could just as easily tick up next month because the inventory is more compacted, which means it's going to be more competitive for the buyer's agents, which means they may overbid more and push those prices up. What's key here is the increase that we're seeing, and that the talk, even at Mega Camp a few weeks ago, was that this isn't sustainable. I don't know that that's actually true. I don't see any forces that are going to keep us under 10% appreciation every year. We'll dip below it. Right now we're at 9.8 for this year, but I think overall we're going to end at 10%. And I think that's probably our new normal. Meaning,
I think when they say it's not sustainable, it's because the whole country is feeling something similar to this, and it's not sustainable for the whole country. And yet, if we look at San Diego and we look at the Bay Area, for example, we're just kind of doing what they did. So San Diego is an attractive place to live, and I think we're going to stay the anomaly as things level out in other places.
I agree.
That's my psychic prediction. So you're all welcome for my psychic predictions.
You all remember that when I show you the 2014 stuff. We don't need to be psychic. We just need to be able to read. So average sales price has done the same thing. I'll use my psychic prediction right now, Sarah. I don't think we'll ever go down below $1 million average sales price for a single family home. I think that's not our new floor, which is insane because we got there in a very short amount of time. We got there in a year. We were just at 900,000 when COVID hit last year. And we've gained $127,000 in value in 1 year on the average. Our median active market time has ticked up. And so when this is the one statistic, if people are saying, oh, the market has slowed, if we show this would be evidence that the market has slowed, but that has to be addressed in context. What I mean by that is for the vast majority of our agents, I would say probably 70% of our agents, you've seen nothing except a very, very aggressive seller's market. 60, 70, 80% absorption rate is an aggressive seller's market. But the reality is a balanced market would have 6 months of inventory and probably somewhere around 80 days of market time. So when we're still seeing 10 and 12 days of active market time, The context is that is still insanely fast. Now, we're comparing it to 2 or 3 days when stuff would fly off the market and you had 60 offers. Well, that isn't sustainable. This is a slowing, and yet it is still hyperspeed. It's like we were at Mach 10 and now we're at Mach 6. Okay. Questions or comments on that? Yeah, slowing, exactly. Ooh. Instead of driving Jay Lee's car at 150, I cut it down to 130. And so the other side of that, here's the indicator. We still only have a month of inventory for houses and an 1/8 of a month, 24 days for condos. That's a better indicator on how aggressive your market is. Because for everybody who's relatively new, if today I called every agent in town and said, you know, we're going to do some cool stuff this next month, don't list anything. Just hold off your listings until October 1st. If we did that, October 1st, we would have nothing left to sell. Because the inventory in the MLS would be depleted. It would all be in escrow. That's what this number means. List price compared to sales price. Original list price compared to sales price. Now, this also looks like, oh God, it came down, but it's still 102%. That's the average list price to sales price percentage. So that means we've had a lot of deals still go 115, 117% over list price. But the only way that happens as an educational point is when you've got multiple buyers fighting with each other and bidding it up. It's very rare for one solo buyer to come in and pay that much over list price. It's a bidding war that creates that. Okay. Price per square foot continues that houses are a little bit more expensive than condos. And I do think, depending on what happens, we're so lucky. I was just reading some news this morning about the state of California in the COVID crisis versus every other state in the country. We are actually in the best, we're rated as the healthiest as far as lack of restrictions and everything else, and lack of people in hot. I mean, this second round with the Delta variant in most of the country has shut them back down, and we're not in that situation. So we might not see the same kind of bump we saw last year in terms of price because people are fleeing from their condos because they wanted space. But I think I'm still sensing a trend that people want bigger with more outdoor space. That's why this finally crossed and houses became more valuable per square foot than condos. Monthly indicators. So closed sales, I highlighted the one place that is, this is from SDAR, highlighted the one paragraph that I thought was worthy at all. Closed sales decreased 8.9%, but for houses, but increased 4.6% for condos. Pending sales decreased 5% for detached, but increased 7.6% for attached. And inventory decreased overall by 39.1%. Again, that constricting of inventory is it's forecasting to you, it's going to be more competitive in the next couple months. We're going to have multiple offers likely again, and those prices will be popped up even more. Market-wide inventory levels were down market-wide. So this isn't just single family and condos. This is also including 2 to 4 units. Inventory levels were down 45.7%. And the smallest decline was seen in single family homes. Now, this slide, I'm gonna come off of it, but for anybody this is the first or maybe second time you've been to a stat meeting, go through the slideshow that Evie sent out to you and look at this slide in depth. This shows you the number of realtors who've been active in the San Diego area for the last 12 months and how many properties have sold and how many realtors have sold how many properties. It's just a good reminder that you actually don't have a ton of competition out there. There are not an enormous amount of highly talented, highly successful agents. There's a lot of room for people who know what they're doing to make a really good impact. All right, so what I'm going to do, I was going to just show a couple of slides, but this is fun because you can see how my slideshows have evolved from 2014. Can you guys see that? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Well, shoot, now I can't. Let me close that one. All right. So colors have changed, layout has changed. And for this first slide, we were selling not a lot, but some luxury condos downtown, which is why I broke this up from $1 million to $1.5 million to at about this time, I decided to stop doing that because it wasn't worth the time. I just grouped everything $1.5 million or over. Because of the way we're seeing the numbers slide up, I'm likely going to have to develop some more price categories, or define, I should say, some more price categories. But even in 2014, we had space for under $100,000. Okay, this was February of 2014. So our current active inventory was $59.91. I had earlier slides that showed what today's current active inventory is. Do you remember what it was? Anybody want to give a guess? If you're within 10%, I'll be very happy. No, we're not under 2,000. Good guess though.
2,300.
Go ahead. Joe, yep, you're pretty close. So let's say that, okay? And by the way, Bridget, you came in, you were in the business in 2014. There was a lot of SD lookup files in my computer for that time frame, by the way. Did we think 2014 was comfortable, or were we like, oh my God, this is such an aggressive seller's market?
Oh, that was such a weird year. I'm trying to remember what.
Oh, Stephanie, no,
I feel like it was busy. I feel like it was pretty busy. So I feel like it was a kind of still, the market was moving pretty good, if I recall.
Yeah, I remember on Facebook, I was kind of competing with Richard Woods all the time saying, hey, when are we going to drop below 6,000 available listings? Because that, like, we couldn't comprehend that we ever would. And this month it was $59.91. So we've been thinking for a long time, oh my God, when is the seller's market going to end? Okay. In this year, the year over year average sales price is up 18.5%. That's a big jump. But look what the average was. What's our average now? And I said, we'll never drop below it again. $1 million. 6 years ago is not that long ago. This one's fun. Our marker for where inventory was shrinking was at 750, but look how low our price points went. And that's months of inventory in each of those price points. I know, Andrea, it does seem like it's a long time ago. When you look at these numbers, if somebody, I think we could like get non-real estate people and put the slideshow you saw earlier compared to this one, say what amount of time do you think has transpired between these two markets? I don't think they'd say 6 years. We have dramatically shifted in ways that couldn't have been predicted because we've been in this aggressive seller's market for so long. I was so nostalgic. I'm like, God, we had 29 active properties up to $100,000 6 years ago. If you didn't buy a property for investment purposes 6 years ago, you thought the prices were they weren't sustainable, you're probably having a similar conversation with yourself now, and they're sustainable. All right. This one don't worry about, but month over month increases in all price points up to 750. If we were to overlay this now on what we have, it's exactly opposite because there's no inventory under that line to sell. Very little inventory left. Okay. Same thing. Just look where all the properties were selling. All right, what are your thoughts? I'm seeing a few of you, I think, uncomfortably shift in your chairs. Talk to me.
Ashley, I have a question for you.
Yes.
With SB 9, just awaiting Governor Newsom's signature, which I anticipate will go forward. And single family homes will be able to divide their lot and be able to put up to 4 properties on it, no matter the size. What is that going to do to single family home prices just based on lot value?
That is a fantastic question, and I don't know. Here's what I'll say. The ADU rules, when they changed, created a window of opportunity for people who really understood what was going on in terms of the actual land value. But I even think still very few people understand the value of that. I have a good friend who has gobbled up a whole bunch of residential lots that are 10 to 13,000 square foot lots, which is a very good size lot in San Diego. But he was telling me last week, because of the ADU laws and how things are, on most of those, he can put 4 to 6 units on 12 to 13,000 square foot lots in the city of San Diego. So if you can lot split, I think it's going to be in the hands of the small developer to actually increase our density. Here's what I mean. We don't have any large lots of land to sell to massive developers anymore, right? If Toll Brothers wanted to do more building in San Diego and they wanted 500 acres, we don't have 500 acres of contiguous land for them to buy to then put condos, townhomes, or houses on. But if individual small investors can go get 3 or 4 lots and turn them into 6 or 8, we're going to see infill projects that create the increased density that we actually truly need. We're not going to like a lot of it because we don't have the infrastructure to support it. And as far as the actual property value goes, I don't know that we could have enough of those projects done to dampen our appreciation very much. Because again, if I did a poll on here, let's do it. Let's put it in the chat box. How many active buyers are you working with right now? Just put it in the chat box. Let's see what we can total. Nikki is the only one with 2 buyers. Okay, 2, 4, 8, 13, 14, 15, 20, 22. From very few people responding right now, we're up to 28. Oh, Joe, you go, buddy. You just took us to 36. And that, I think, is about 12 people have responded. Now, Emily put us at 40. If I could get everybody in our brokerage to tell us how many, I bet we have at least 100 to 200 buyers right now, maybe more than that. And 2,400 properties available and 300 brokerages in San Diego that aren't mom and pops. So Debbie, if you're asking, is it going to lower the prices of houses? No, because we'd need 3 or 4 times the inventory we have. And even if they entitle
increase,
yeah, even if we were to entitle that many more units, it's going to take a long time. Anybody tried to hire a contractor lately? I have. We don't have enough contractors in San Diego to build 6,000 units. So I think we'll be okay. What I think longer term is we're going to have infrastructure spending. As if you go through some of those streets in North Park and Normal Heights and any of the kind of core central neighborhoods, they are not built for more density, and they're going to get more density. Where are people going to park? Alicia, right? Now, knowing that's coming, and a lot of those decisions are made because of the rural counties. The majority of our counties in California are very rural. especially compared to LA or San Diego. So those are why those decisions are being made. But the smart people are going to take advantage of that. If you can buy anything right now that could have a lot split, it'd be a good time to do it.
I think so too.
Yep. All right. So 2014 and my conclusions for February 2014 were property values will increase over the next 2 to 5 years, which you never, ever want to make a 5-year prediction. And we're 6 years in and the prices are still increasing. And I'm going to say for the next 5 years, the prices are going to continue to increase. Same reasons, lack of inventory and lack of new homes being brought to the market. It's likely that the largest, this is so funny, if you were around, it's likely the largest price jumps will be seen under 450 or in the entry level market. Well, now I think looking at the trends, the largest price jumps are going to be for anything currently valued at 650 to 800. Because that's the sweet spot of our market. That's where the majority of activity is happening. So if you've got people overbidding on a $750,000 house, they're going to overbid it and it's going to end up in the 8s. San Diego market is strong and the outlook is strong. Same. Sellers are gaining equity every month. Same. Rents are still strong and increasing, actually way more insane now than even then. And buyers are encouraged to act with urgency. It is still in some places cheaper to buy than rent in San Diego, but we're going to have a whole nother part of our population forever priced out of our market. It's unfortunate and inevitable. All right, that's it. Those aren't important.
Ashley, I got a question for you.
Yep.
I'd be really interested to look back at the time frame from October of 17 through October of 18 and to take a look at what sales were doing during that period, because I think that history is about to repeat itself. And that's my genie hat, Sarah. Because the Fed has already announced that they're going to start tapering and they're going to start buying less and less. And when you take a look, and I have a chart that I can share with you guys, they announced in October that they were going to do that in back in 17. And you can see the chart of the 30-year rate exactly at that point shoot up 1.25%. I would really be curious to correlate what happened during that time frame to what's about to happen come December when they're going to start doing the same exact thing.
I will put that together. I am not going to commit to a time frame right now.
No, don't. I just wanted to
the
throw it
next
out
2
there.
weeks, I'll get that to you. And
I just wanted to throw it out there for you, and I'll send you what I'm looking at, because I think that you'd be really interested in making that correlation, because I think that it'll have it's gonna be something.
Stephanie Jensen just asked Ed if you could share interest rates over the last 10 years.
Yeah, sure, easy. Here you go. Hold on a second.
I love this collaboration. And Andrea Walsh, you're so funny. You said you felt that those conclusions were just written like today for today's market. So that was the other thing I laughed at. I'm like, oh my God, it's been Groundhog's Day. How am I still having the same conversation every freaking month about the numbers? They just keep shifting up.
So I just put a link, Stephanie, in there for the last, it goes back. You can go back. How far back can you go? 2006? Oh, 1975.
1975.
Yeah.
The year I was born.
So you can go back pretty far with this to see that, and these are statistics from the Fed. And then that image that I put in there, Ashley, that's the one that I was referring to, and I presented that at one of these stats meetings years ago when we were doing this. But that was the buyback period where they started tapering down the amount of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities that they were buying. And you can see the correlation if you zoom in on the rates, how they spike. I'd like to see how that overlays with sales.
Cool.
I think that'll be really interesting.
Just so everybody is aware, on my birthday, June 1975, it was 8.88%.
Yeah.
Wow. And then it went up from there for the next 8 years. Awesome. All right,
Thank
other
you.
questions or comments? We are right at 2:30. Perfect plan. All right.
Everyone's
Mikey?
brains are full.
Yay, Mikey, the audience. Well, no, Sarah, you go for it. Take us out.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ashley. Everyone go ruminate on that. And Mike Delgado, let's go.